Let's look at an interesting concept about Turbo called on-demand funding. And the idea behind is, for example, if you have a file here and you're trying to upload a file and the file is above the amount of Winston credit you hold in your wallet, it's going to ask you to top up depending on your wallet. For example, this file is 8.1 megabytes. And then if I'm using my MetaMask here on Ethereum, I don't have enough Winston credits. So by default, if I try to upload this file, it's going to fail because I don't have enough amount. But then there is this concept of on-demand funding, whereby you can specify the wallet you're going to use and the tokens. And then if this file is above the Winston credits your wallet has, it's going to ask you to top up, right? So that the action doesn't just fail, but it can continue after you've topped up, after you've added some Winston credits to your wallet. And this functionality only accepts, at the moment of recording this video, it only accepts 3 tokens. It accepts the RIO token, it accepts ETH on Base, and it also accepts Solana. So let's first implement the actual logic here, and just sort of a walkthrough here. I'm going to use WAGMI provider, and also I'm going to use the Rainbow Wallet Kit. And then on the other side, I use Turbo, of course, because Turbo is the main SDK here we're exploring. And again, if you've seen other videos in this series, you've already seen this component. So I'm not going to go deep through the component, but you've already seen what the component does. And so what you're going to do here is under this upload file, which is where the main logic is going to live. We're going to wrap it in a try catch again. And down here, we shall just log the error if we have any error. And so in the try block, I'm going to do a couple of things. First thing first, I'm going to try to get the provider. And this is going to be the Ethereum provider. So I do ethers. It's going to be new ethers.browser provider. And I have to make sure ethers is imported here. .browser provider. And this is going to be equal to window.ethereum. The next step I'm going to do is to get the signer out of that. So signer is going to be await provider.get signer. And the signer is the one we're going to use to authenticate with Turbo. So get signer here this way. Okay. Now that we have the signer, we can initiate the Turbo instance. And this is going to be equal to Turbo factory. And again, you always, if you're in the web environment, you import from web. If you're in a Node.js environment, you can import from Node or leave it like that, right? But in the web environment, you always make sure you import from web, otherwise it's going to fail. So here we have Turbo authenticated. And so we do wallet adapter. And this is going to be equal to get signer. If you don't know, if you haven't seen the deep explanation of how to connect an Ethereum wallet or a Solana wallet, I've already made a video on my channel about that. You can go check that out. So this is going to be a function, and this function is going to return the signer. Okay. So the next step here, we have to specify the token. In this case, we're just going to do base ETH, because we're going to do on-demand funding using base ETH. As I've specified, for Ethereum wallets, it's only on base ETH, or it's only on the base chain that you can do the on-demand funding. So now that you have the Turbo instance initiated, I can do a couple of things here. First thing, I'm going to log the balance of my Winston credits so that you can see that truly this wallet has no balance at all. So you do get balance, and that will load my Winston credit. And the last thing I'm going to do is to upload the file now. So I'm going to do result equals await turbo dot upload file. And then in this case, we're going to do just as before. We upload the file, the actual file. We can add tags if we want, but I won't add tags. I won't add events. There is a video specific for breaking all that down. You can go watch that. The only parameter I'm interested in this particular video is funding mode. So funding mode is the parameter that you can customize to get what type of funding mode you want to have in your application. In my case, I'm going to use an Ethereum wallet, so I'm going to use base ETH, and this is going to be equal to on-demand funding. And this is a function that you import from the Turbo SDK, right? As you can see, it's imported here. And so this will take in a couple of parameters. The first one is going to be max token amount. And this is going to be the maximum amount you allow your on-demand funding to pull, right? For example, let's say if you're saying, hey, I only want you to pull 0.0003 Ethereum from my wallet, if the file you're trying to upload is going to cost more than that, you don't want to approve that, right? This helps you give the ceiling to this function of how much it can pull from your wallet. So you can see here, it's going to be ETH to token amount. If it was RIO, you would say RIO to token amount. And if it was SOL, you'd say SOL to token amount. And all these functions exist already in the Turbo SDK. So here I'm going to put 0.0005, for example. This is just an example, and you can customize this however you want. The next parameter I'm going to add here is the top-up buffer. It's called top-up buffer multiplier. And this is top up, not top. And this you do 1.1 so that you can slightly overfund rather than underfund the upload itself. And so we have an error here saying is not callable. Or did you? Yeah, it's called new. It's new on-demand funding, right? So you can see the error has disappeared. And the last thing we can do here, we're going to log the result. And so that's how you can do on-demand funding using Turbo or the Turbo SDK. And this works both in the website or on the Node.js side. Again, as I said, depending on the wallet you're using, you can change this. If you're using, for example, Solana, you can do Solana to token amount, and it's going to work. Just make sure that it's the Solana wallet that is here as a signer. Same if you have an Arweave related wallet and you hold RIO, you can do RIO to token amount. And those are the 3 tokens that are accepted with the funding mode at the moment of recording this video. Maybe some other tokens are going to be added, but at this moment, those are the only ones that exist. And again, as I said, this works both in the web environment and the node environment. So you can use it any side. Just make sure you have the token that you want to fund with in case you don't have Winston credits. And so yeah, that was just a quick walkthrough on how you can use funding mode. I think it's very, very important that you know all these parameters so that you can customize your application to give your users the best user experience.